Women want men going their own way banned.
Study called from the Pew Center Research conducted a study that said 63% of men under age 30 would rather stay home and then go on a date.
Women want men going their own way banned. Why do so many women suddenly want men going their own way banned after saying that they didn't want these men and that these men were sent on their way? What are the implications of women now wanting men going their own way banned? And what are the consequences of men going on their own way that will impact women going into the future? Watch the end of the video to find out how men going their own way is going to drastically change the American landscape and even the global landscape as more men go their own way and walk away from Western society and relationships and even society itself. Now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Men say they are getting their needs met without having to go on a date. Would men rather stay single than be with a woman is the question.
That's what they're saying, pretty much.
Have 7 million men ages 25 to 54 not working or looking for work. 7 million. You can't build a civilization, a culture, a nation, an economy on men who are not activated and working and producing. What it means is you have far more consumers than producers. And then you have a whole generation of young men that are going to vote to increase the taxes on men who are working to reallocate wealth, which is stealing. And the result is at some point you run out of other people's money. That's why we now have record national.
If a woman is over 30 years old and she is not married, she will be called 剩女, 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 which means leftover woman.
This is why you should never cold approach a woman. Despite what many other female dating coaches will tell you, it's total crap. Approach is always this manifestation in your male mind that this woman, because she is so attractive, would benefit you and your life. But you have no idea if she is relationship material, if she is a rancid bitch, if you know what I'm talking about. The only reason you're approaching her is because you find her attractive, and then you're going to turn around and resent her for your entire life for having that power over you. It is purely shallow, and you are already setting up a poor power dynamic within a relationship if you do end up getting in one with this girl. So take it from Big Sis.
How is it that I look like this today, yet no man wants me to be his girlfriend?
Is this a serious question? Because women just went from saying they rather pick a bear over a man. So why the hell would men approach you or even look in your direction? But not only that, so many women have taught men over the years that all men are predatorial. So the good men of the world gave up. And it's so funny because women will constantly say that men don't listen. But now that men are listening, y'all are wondering where the good guys are at, why they don't approach you anymore, and why men are just simply not interested. And why the hell would they be interested? They don't know if they're going to be the next subject of all men are trash content on social media. They don't know if they're going to be accused of doing something they didn't do. They don't know if they're going to be used for dates. They don't know if they're going to be manipulated and then called a narcissist. And in this particular video, she's also asking why didn't they approach her because she looks the way that she looks. But the bottom line is most women are basic. There's nothing special to them. We all look the freaking same. So yeah, you actually have to come with more than just your looks. You actually need a personality nowadays too.
I mean, this is the situation women have put themselves in. You know, men are waking up and saying no more. The idea of marriage is something that most men are now realizing is only going to do bring more problems into their lives than value. Men are saying that it's not even enough to be pretty anymore. You know, do you actually have value of your own? Will you make my life easier or better? Will you bring me peace? Will you make my life easier and not harder? Because men spend most of their lives fighting. They don't need to come home and do battle at home. So many men have lost everything and are sharing their stories now, while women basically mock them and say that it's a man's job to provide and protect, and they need to stop talking about it. And they say, if these men are really going their own way, then why are they still speaking? Because if you really, they're trying to say is if you're really going your own way, then you'll be silent. Okay? Because they want men to live silent lives of misery, pain, and suffering. This is what they want for us. They don't want us to talk about our issues. They don't want us to talk about our pain. They don't want us to talk about the things that are happening in our lives. No, 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 no. They want to control us. They want to keep us ignorant. They want to keep us separated. They want to keep us in despair because these people do not like us. They just want our attention, our time, our money. And it's not just women. They're agents of the state as well. For example, even within the church, that demand that men come to church and contribute at church because they just want our money. All right? You've got these pastors that are giving sermons because the rent is due. It's not because they care about you. It's because the rent is due. It's because the building is being foreclosed on. Men pay 80% of taxes in society while women make 80% of all consumer purchases. When men pass away, they leave a surplus on the economy. When women pass away, they leave a deficit. Because men are beginning to pull back and only working enough to survive and thrive and no more, or not working at all because they have enough money saved in the bank so they can live off the interest from their money, or they're making dividends, or they're doing day trading, or they're doing gig economy work, and they have their life structured in such a way that they don't really have to work very much at all. They might only work 10 hours a week, if even that. And that's more than enough to survive. Because the average man does not need a lot to survive. The average man could live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road.
Young guys are doing with their time and energy. Porn, social media, video games, the beast, the false prophet, and the Antichrist. That's what they're doing. Single guys in your 20s, here's what we know. 68% of guys in their 20s today are not dating a woman, not intending to date a woman, have no actual interest in a relationship with a female, and are making no movement toward marriage whatsoever.
Making no movement towards marriage whatsoever. So in other words, men are losing interest in physical intimacy. A lot of men are saying, hey, you know what? My hand is enough. You know, I'll flick my wrist and then I'm done within a minute or less, and I can do something that I enjoy. I can watch TV. I can do something. And here's the thing, because men are not coming in contact with women as often, because men are separating themselves and isolating themselves, they begin to desire physical intimacy even less. And then when they look on YouTube and they see videos of the way that women speak to men and the way that they carry themselves, the guys go, yeah, no, thank you. When they hear about the stories of how men have lost everything and how men are treated in society, and they watch women using sign language over and over and over again, shame, insults, and guilt because they need to be right. Men are like, yeah, so this is what's waiting for me? Yeah, no, thank you. I'm not going to pay for my own incarceration. Because that's essentially what society is telling us now. Women in society are shaming men for not wanting to pay for their own incarceration. Because that's what it essentially is. And men are like, yeah, miss me with that. I'm not going to be the one, all right? I'm not going to be caught up in this. I'm walking away and I'm staying away. And women have zero recourse for this other than going onto social media and complaining that the men are walking away and trying to shame men back to the plantation.
Don't approach women anymore. So historically, women have always waited for men to make the first move. Is he going to go in for the kiss? Is he going to hold my hand? But now, whenever I talk to my friends about their dating history, all I hear them talking about is, oh, he hasn't made a move, he's not doing anything, we're not moving forward. So on the flip side of this normally ends up in men feeling like they're getting ghosted, or that there's just being told there's no spark. And from what I'm hearing from a lot of my clients, it's not because that you're not attracted to her. It's more about fearing that you're either going to get rejected, maybe you're going to get turned down, you know, slapped in the face when you go for that first move, or even worse, like getting in trouble with the law. So you need to ask yourself, does this sound like you? The truth is, you probably missed that golden opportunity to create that spark. And she likely was giving you signals that you just didn't quite catch.
Guys, they're literally acting like M2 didn't happen and like it's still not happening. They could care less about the implications of being a man when men are facing in society. The same people who are saying men should never approach a woman that they don't know. Men should never make the first move. Allow the woman to do that. Men should be very careful what they say and do around a woman, are then being criticized for being careful what they say and do around a woman. They're being criticized for not approaching women who are giving them, looking at them or trying to get them to come over. All right? Because they've been warned that just because a woman smiles at you doesn't mean she's interested in you. Just because a woman speaks to you doesn't mean she's interested in you. Just because a woman is nice doesn't mean that she wants to go on a date with you. Just because all of these things, some men are like, okay, well, I got it. We're not going to mess around because we don't want to find out. All right? So we're just going to walk away. We're doing exactly what you want us to do, ladies. But now what's happening is that the guys that women want to approach them are no longer approaching them. And to make matters even more interesting, for women to actually reject guys, they have to be approached. So they don't even have the opportunity to reject men anymore. And it's different when they reject a man on social media because, they can block him and then the guy just goes on to the next one. But it's not the same as natural human interaction. And women don't care at all. They don't care about the plights of men. They are not listening. And whenever there are a handful of women that actually, talk about what's happening with men, it's like, women, they hear this. It's like, meow, 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 meow. It goes into one ear and comes right out the other. If they even hear it at all. They don't care. They just want our attention, our time, and our money. They don't actually care about us as people. They don't actually care if we live, if we can survive. They don't care about our well-being. They just want to extract our wealth and resources. So what does this actually mean? Women want men going their own way banned. And the implication is that even without the label, even without it being available everywhere, men are just naturally beginning to say that they want to separate themselves from relationships, dating, and society and just live lives of peace. You have men who are walking away, going overseas sometimes to find, becoming passport kings, going overseas to find, women overseas to marry and date that they feel better aligned with their cultural values. But a lot of men who are like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to, avoid relationships. I'm going to avoid society as much as I can. And I'm just going to live a separate life, by myself. And there's no recourse for this. Come 2030, 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be childless and single. And that's not counting, that's not counting the women who will be single, but also, be single moms. So when you factor that in, the number could actually be the number of single women in Western society can be, come 2030, as high as 70 to 80% of all women. And they will not have men to subsidize their living. And the state is no longer capable of doing this. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a lot of women who are going to be living in states of destitution. And they're going to have to work for the rest of their lives. But to make matters worse, with the AI revolution and jobs becoming more scarce, a lot of women are going to find themselves living in shelters. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, check out my newsletter. Subscribe to our new newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. The future for women, the results of them trying to ban MGTOW is just going to result in more men, creating more senses of distrust. And regardless of what they say, they will be able to ban the idea or the concept because men are just doing this naturally right now. They're either walking away or they're going their own way and they're staying away. What do you guys think regarding everything we discussed here in this video and the fact that women want to ban men going their own way? Let me know what you guys think and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.